That is my very last tea bag, but of course I come prepared. Oh, what else did you expect? What we're going to talk about today is medical measurement equipment, and for this I have a blood pressure meter, sphygmomanometer, and a pulse oximeter. This tells you what your pulse rate is and what your blood oxygen level is. Dead simple to use. Put your finger in there, push the button, wait for it to calibrate. My heart rate is 72 and my oxygen level is 97. They're very, very simple inside. It's a processor and two different LEDs. One is infrared and one is just normal red. It shines through your fingers, and oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood respond differently to the normal and the infrared. And by using what comes back from the sensor that detects both LEDs, you can tell what the blood oxygen level is. It's quite clever how it works. A very simple little device. It has to calibrate, of course, because it's shining through your finger, and if you have thicker veins or thicker bones, or if your skin isn't white, it's going to be reading differently, so it has to calibrate before it then tries to work out what your oxygen levels are. And this thing does a little bit more, and it will, this is why I'm wearing this top, it will tell you what your blood pressure is. And it works the same way that the doctors do when they do it themselves. They're not easy to put on single-handed, to be honest. Hopefully that's tight enough, we'll find out. Don't laugh, I have to keep a straight face now.
The average blood pressure.
Come on, you going to work or not?
Attention please. Please keep silent and relax. Keep the cuff at heart level. Start measurement now. Systolic blood pressure is 132 millimeter of mercury pillar. Your diastolic blood pressure is 80 millimeter of mercury pillar. And your heart rate is 68 beats per minute. Measurement over. According to the World Health Organization standards, the measurement result is normal. Thanks for using. Wishing you good health.
132 is quite high for me, but then I've been walking around getting all this stuff set up for the video, and I've also been drinking tea, which you shouldn't do before measuring your blood pressure, but it's just for an example. This one is the one that I trust because A, it was the most expensive. I've had it for years. It connects to a Bluetooth app that hasn't been updated to Android 10, never mind what they're using now. And also this one has been tested with what my doctor would do. She seemed to be unaware that these things existed, which is peculiar, but there you go. A little bit later, Mum got this thing from Lidl. I'll put that down there. Now this one is peculiar in that it goes on your wrist. Let's see if I can get it in the right place. Error. I don't think I've got it quite the right place. Alright, let's try it again. (118/72), which is more what I would expect, with my heart being 66, which is normal for me. So my pressure's coming down as I'm just sort of sitting here chilling, making a video. No stress whatsoever. The way it works is it pumps up a thing that squashes your vein there, and then it slowly releases the pressure, and when it can first hear the blood whooshing through, that is one reading, and then when it can't hear it anymore, that is the second reading. Here is one that I got from Lidl just before COVID hit, to have as a backup for that one there. And also because it's hard to keep a straight face when it's playing music at you. I mean, I just find it funny, so I'm sorry. I got one that is much simpler. You should line up the pipe thing. Turn it around a little bit. Put it on a little bit tighter, turn it around a little bit. The pipe should be lined up with your index finger, more or less. Alright, let's turn this one on.
L'appareil est prêt à fonctionner. Prenez votre tension.
This one squeezes really hard, to be honest. And just to make it hurt a little bit more, it'll squeeze some more.
Systole 122 mm de mercure. Diastole 79 mm de mercure. Pouls 64 pulsations par minute. Selon l'OMS, votre tension est normale.
So 122/79 and my pulse is 60 whatever. That actually agrees with this one, so I think this one here was misreading a little bit, but usually you should do it 2 or 3 times with a gap in between to get around that. I remember actually this thing here, this is one I got from Lidl more recently, and I wonder if it was a customer return because it's not showing up the figure exactly properly. Which means, of course, I'll put that there, there is the one that I actually got from Lidl a long time ago, which is this one. And this one is a little bit fancier, it supports Bluetooth and rubbish like that. I'll turn you off for the moment. But it seems more of a gimmick than anything else. It seemed to have a lot of trouble connecting to my phone when I installed the app, so I just took the app out and thought, sod it. So we'll put this one on. like I said, not easy to do these things single-handedly, and it is a reason why I'm going through all this rubbish. So let's see how this goes. You can feel this in your arm when you're doing it. (120/73) was 68. Now, the thing you might notice about that was it behaved completely differently. It slowly inflated, really slowly at the beginning, and it didn't squeeze up and then let the pressure out. It was actually measuring as it was going up, which is, I think, unique to all of the ones that I have here. And the reason I've done all this is because I sent off an order to Shine, because I rather liked this top. Now look, it even has detail of the intestines. And when I did that, I got a pulse oximeter for €1.50 and one of these things for €4.63. How the hell they can make that price, I don't know. But let's pull this out and see what happens. It looks just the same as the other one. Probably mass produced in exactly the same Chinese factory. Okay, that's weird. It uses a spring for that end. Alright, here we go. Oh, it's in colour. Wipe my finger in there and see what happens. (72, 71 is my pulse and 98 is my oxygenation level. This doesn't seem to be measuring my heartbeat so much as maybe what it's able to see, this signal strength. But yeah, I'm not ill, I'm not dying of pneumonia or COVID or anything, so I can't tell you if it behaves properly when I have a low oxygenation level, but it mostly agrees with that one. How 150? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Now this doesn't have a fancy case like the others, it's just stuff stuck in a bag. Instruction, I'm not going to bother reading that. I mean, it ought to be pretty obvious how to use it. Now, am I going to have to go find some AAAs? That's AA, sorry. Nope, it takes triples. That's useful, I have triples right here. Right, so let's see how this thing behaves. The first one, as I said, the one that plays the music, was about 35 euros. The ones from Lidl were about somewhere between 15 and 18, depending on what I got and when. And this thing was basically the price of a Happy Meal. I mean, that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? But let's stick it in and see what it does. She pump at different speeds, that's a bit odd. (132/78). Let's see if I can put this up in a better position. That's a bit high. error. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not happy with where this thing is. Of course, there are going to be ones that are more finicky than the others. 'Finish, I want some tea. (113/75), pulse 67. Now, these aren't going to all measure the same because your heart rate is always changing. Me getting annoyed with this thing might have changed the heart rates, for example. But they all read about the same, and this thing is dirt cheap. How it works is a pump that puts the air into the cuff, and there's a thing that can detect the pressure, and not only is it detecting the pressure as it's letting the pressure out, it's also listening for the duk 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 duk, which will show up as the cuff squeezes your wrist, or I forgot the name of that, in disturbances in what the readings are. So there you go. It does work. It's a lot more finicky than the other ones, but it surprisingly works. Wow. Okay.